Hello, welcome. Today I'm going to talk to you. Pause and try again. Hi there, welcome. Today we're going to dive into a bit of some Ryla 101 for District 5580. So today we're going to talk about what Ryla is, some basic expectations around it, and how we have designed Ryla so that you can feel more confident as a Rotary member talking to others in the district and talking to students about what this opportunity really entails. So who's at Ryla? Number one, we are looking for students who are entering their junior or senior year of high school. I'm going to have a separate video that's going to talk through different ways to recruit students, what to look for, who to talk to, etc. The other big audience that we have at Ryla are our staff. These are generally past campers who have come back to really help share the Ryla magic, and Rotarians in District 5580. All of our staff members are volunteers who take a week every year out of their summer to help this program be what it is today. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Ryla philosophy. So what really happens at Ryla? And I think it's important for Rotarians to get a good understanding around what's going on beyond just a schedule and a list of events that happen, to really understand why we do the things we do and what makes it so that when they come back to your clubs and they say, this was an amazing experience, it's really hard to describe. I'm going to try to help describe the experience for you. So there's really 4 key areas that I'm going to focus in on. It's our environment, it's the process, how we use empowerment at the camp to make it really a transformational experience. So the environment. We lead our Ryla environment with kindness, with positivity, and with compassion. We make sure that that tone is set the minute the students come onto campus and are greeted for the very first time. We know one of the key things about really being able to be a great learner and to kind of buy into the whole experience really starts with that level of the environment. The students are put into small groups of 8 to 9 other students, along with 2 volunteers. And the first day is really about helping these students form together in these groups. It's opportunities to learn about one another and to be able to form into a group that's willing to put themselves out there and try new things and use the lessons that they're learning throughout the process. Which leads me into the second piece, which is the process. You'll hear me reference this a bit. If we've ever had the opportunity to chat one-on-one, it is probably one of the biggest things that I think helps differentiate Ryla 5580 from other leadership programs, is that all of the activities that we do are focused around how the students can apply what they're learning in a regular environment. And so what I mean by that is we will give presentations and speeches on our core curriculum, which include the 7 habits of highly effective teams, Myers-Briggs type indicator, diversity learning, different ways of how to network and connect with others. But all of those presentations in themselves are full of action and activity. It's not so much us giving a lecture as it is us helping them understand the principles. And then the process is what helps them apply those principles. And so we do things like what you see in this image here is part of the low ropes course, where the students are then challenged to complete an activity. But part of that challenge is how can they help lead and or follow others? How can they use these principles and apply them into an activity like this? And then the key thing here after this is that you We then have these small groups that we have formed for the students, and they discuss what they've learned. What did they do? How did the activity go? And are really reflective within that environment, because we don't really care if the students fail these activities. If this low ropes course was not completed, that's not the definition of success. The definition of success within Ryla is if something wasn't completed, or if it was, can you reflect on what made something work well or what made something not work so well? And can you be self-aware enough to understand where those differences might lie and how you can make improvements and how you can really be the best leader possible for you from those experiences? And so that leads us into empowerment. When we talk about the process, part about that process means that the students have these opportunities to learn. And so we give the students a lot of opportunities to actually run the camp themselves. We have committees, and on these committees, they're given parameters and guidelines. For example, we offer up a talent show evening where we tell the students, look, we plan to have a talent show or variety show during the hours of 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. There's a stage reserved for you. There is a sound and lighting booth, but the rest is up to you. And it's up to that committee to then go through the process of finding students to participate, planning out the structure of how they're going to do that, making sure that day of things are going smoothly. They run the backstage. They are communicating to lights and sound. They're making sure the sound, the music is set up for specific performances, and going through the motions. And so again, this all comes down to the process. We want them to actively use these principles that we're teaching them in a very applicable environment, that they're able to be very tactile in their learning experiences. So for the committees are an example of the empowerment. We really enable that throughout the whole week. It builds and builds and builds, so that by the end of the week, ideally the campers are really the ones running the environment and the camp themselves. And that brings us into a transformational experience by setting up the environment where they can feel safe to succeed or fail. Where they can then be empowered to go through and use these skills that we're teaching them, and that they know that the process is the most important piece. We want to make sure these students have this really safe, encouraging environment to practice these key leadership skills that are going to serve them for the rest of their life. And so that's where we can say, you know, what can a student expect when you talk to a student or a potential student about Ryla? They go, that leadership camp, that's a week out of my summer. You know, why should I care? Why should I want to do that? Well, there's a few, key things that I think you can hit on with that student. We've got an amazingly positive environment. We practice this day in and day out. They'll be able to actually practice what they learn. This is not a lecture environment. This is a hands-on, go through and practice and reflect. They'll be able to meet a lot of new people. We have about 120 to 130 students from the entire District 5580 that attend. That's a lot of people who have similar values and goals to be able to meet and connect with. They're going to be able to try something new. I guarantee there's something that we do at Ryla that they haven't done before. And this is a really safe environment to be able to flex those muscles, to try new things, and to have those opportunities. And these are lessons that last a lifetime. We hear over and over and over again from past campers, who will reach out to us years down the road and say, I'm so grateful I got to participate in Ryla as a high school student, because these things really set me up for success as a young adult. There are students who will say, I'm learning this in my first job. They're talking about things that we talked about at Ryla, and they go, I feel so far ahead of the game by already knowing and already having spent the last 5 years practicing these skills that others are just hearing about. And so that's where it really can become this transformational experience. So hopefully this short video or this short training session here helps you know a little bit more about what to expect and gives you some key things that you can talk about with students when they ask, if I'm supposed to go, if you want me to go to Ryla 5580, why should I? What's in it for me? This is a lot of what's in it for those students. So thank you for your support. If you have questions, we have contact information on our website to reach out to us.